The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Classic TV Funhouse with Dave Sunstrom.
This episode of Classic TV Funhouse is brought to you by the letter B. Yippee-ki-yay, Melon Farmer. Let's do this thing.
Throughout the run of the Andy Griffith Show, Barney's middle name was inconsistent, to say the least. In the episode A Plaque for Mayberry, Andy states that Barney's middle name is Oliver. In later episodes, Barney refers to himself as Bernard P. Fife. And in the episode Class Reunion, the Mayberry Union High School yearbook lists Barney's name as Bernard Milton Fife.
Cartoons are just so violent these days. Batman and Robin are always punching people in the face. It's disgusting.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Dave Sunstrom and I like to talk about music, movies, and mostly TV. Today I'd like to share a little bit about the TV show Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, and more specifically the actor who almost turned down the lead role, Gil Gerard. But first, this important message.
I'm Gil Gerard. You also know me as Buck Rogers, reporting that the view from the 25th century is strictly scientific. Tomorrow belongs to technology, to the engineers and scientists, technicians and managers who use their mental muscles. Use yours. Take advantage of career education opportunities. America's high-tech industries, with electronics as the leader, set the pace worldwide. Plan today, get tomorrow's skills, and you can be part of the new American Revolution.
By gum, Gil was right. Careers in electronics way back in the 80s were the way to go. But we're not here to talk about that. Nope. Let's talk about Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Way back in 1978, while the show was still in development, Glenn Larson and the rest of the production team knew that casting the right actor to play Captain William Buck Rogers was ever so critical to the success of the show. And after a very lengthy search for just the right actor, they eventually landed upon Gil Gerard. But what many people don't know is that Gil wasn't all that keen on playing Buck. Why? Well, because he was worried that he would become typecast like another actor. I'm talking about one of my all-time favorites, the legendary Adam West, who played Batman in the popular television series of the 1960s. It is fairly common knowledge that after West became a household name as the Caped Crusader, he found it difficult to find other acting roles. He was so closely associated with the Batman character that casting directors just had a hard time seeing him as anyone else. And Gil Gerard, he was worried that the same thing would happen to him if he took on the role of Buck Rogers. However, Glenn Larson is nothing if not persistent, and eventually, after many conversations, he was able to convince Gil to reconsider. He assured him that Buck Rogers was a different character with a very unique backstory, and that he would have plenty of opportunities to showcase his acting range. So Gil accepted the role, and it turned out to be a smart decision. Not necessarily because Larson delivered upon those assurances. But Buck Rogers in the 25th century was a hit, at least initially, and Gil became a household name without being typecast. I think a lot of that had to do with just how likable Gil was, or should I say is, as an actor. And things ultimately turned out okay for Adam West as well. You see, Adam never gave up, and eventually, those little Batman fans from the 60s grew up to be key decision makers in the entertainment industry. And Adam, all of a sudden, well, he found himself in demand again. Anyone who's a fan of the animated series Family Guy knows exactly what I'm talking about. For years, until his passing, Adam was the mayor of Quahog, Rhode Island, the fictional town where Peter Griffin and his family reside.
I love this job more than I love taffy. And I'm a man who enjoys his taffy. Ooh. Oh.
Getting back to Gil, these days he is a frequent guest at various Comic-Cons and other nostalgic events. And while his career was a rich one and he got to play many different characters, he is, of course, most fondly remembered as Buck. And if you were to ask him if that was okay, I bet he'd tell you now that he wouldn't have it any other way. So there you have it. I guess the moral of this story is that sometimes taking a chance, even a risky one, can pay off in unexpected ways.
1, 2, 3.
Where to, Batman?
We're off to Zaire, old chump.
At 3 in the morning, Batman?
Christmas waits for no one, Robin.
Holy mistletoe! We've been so busy fighting crime, I almost forgot.
Fortunately, old friend, Zaire is open 24 hours until Christmas for the convenience of all good citizens.
24 hours? Holy rock around the clock!
Well put, Boy Wonder.
For that pesky prankster, the Penguin?
Remember the Christmas spirit, Robin.
Right, Batman.
Thinking back to 1978's Battlestar Galactica, for a 14-year-old kid, this show was almost as good as Star Wars. A ragtag fleet of human survivors looking for a planet inhabited by the lost 13th tribe. And could that 13th tribe be Earth? Only time would tell. Quick sidebar to say that I just absolutely loved the amazing Frank Frazetta artwork that was used to promote the first few episodes. Back then, you rarely saw this kind of stuff in TV Guide. Let's talk for a moment about Dirk Benedict in Battlestar Galactica. His Starbuck character was a lovable rogue, a little bit like Han Solo, Brett Maverick, Eddie Haskell, and the Fonz all mashed up into one really cool character. It was Dirk whose appearance in the final episode of Galactica in 1980 somehow managed to erase much of the trauma that spin-off series had caused.
We'll return after these messages.
Barbara, you've got a great pair of legs.
Need a little magic to make your tummy disappear? Try my magic. Legs Control Top Pantyhose with feel-free control. Legs Control Top holds you in all the right places, but you feel free as a breeze.
Stretching, bending, standing. There's one pantyhose that's always fitting. Nothing beats a great pair of legs.
Oh, I want a Coke.
Oh, what's some fries?
Hey, I won the Whopper prize.
Oh, there's nothing like the one and only Whopper game.
One and only Whopper game at Burger King. Just scratch off. And when one and only shows up in any of the right places, you can win a soft drink, or delicious fries, or a one and only Whopper. Or a whole meal.
I won. It's not the only Whopper, the one and only Whopper.
And the one and only Whopper game.
Burger King and I.
This episode of Classic TV Funhouse is brought to you by the letter B.
While this isn't the first thing that I remember Bill Bixby guest starring in, from a chronological standpoint, this is a very early appearance that I enjoy watching whenever I get a chance to catch it. During the second season of The Andy Griffith Show, Bill did a great job of playing Ronald Bailey, a very wealthy and very spoiled young man who thinks that he's got everything figured out. Well, until he runs into Mayberry Sheriff Andy Taylor. Right after this appearance, Bill was cast in a TV show that would become something of a pop culture event. Yep, I'm talking about My Favorite Martian, co-starring the great Ray Walston. Speaking of memories, I've got to mention that I absolutely loved Walston's turn as Mr. Hand in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That scene with Spicoli and the in-class pizza delivery, well, it's Hollywood comedy gold. The new issue of RetroFan is out. You can preview it at tomorrows.com. No one knew why the Cleaver clan called Theodore Beaver. Apparently, the name came from Wally, who when they were younger couldn't pronounce Theodore and said Tweeter instead. Over time, Tweeter evolved into Beaver, and the rest is television history. Jerry Mathers talks about this on YouTube. He says he thought the reason the show's writers came up with for his nickname was a bit on the lame side, and shares the truth. It all came down to a notebook that one of the show's creators, Joe Connolly, seated in the center here, had been keeping since he was a young man. When Connolly was a merchant marine during World War II, one of his shipmates was named Beaver. Connolly thought that it was such a unique name that he wrote it down in his notebook. And years later, as he and his creative partner, Bob Mosier, began development on the program that would eventually become Leave It to Beaver, he remembered the name and gave it to the youngest member of the Cleaver family.
Why doesn't the beaver ever learn his lesson? He is often taught his lesson. He promises to remember his lesson, but the next day he's forgotten his lesson. Is he deliberately ignoring his lesson? Not exactly. New evidence suggests that Beaver's lesson enters one ear, floats around his head for a few seconds, but avoids having any contact with his brain before exiting out the other side of his skull.
Oh. So that's it.
Learn your lesson. Watch Leave It to Beaver, weeknights in TV Land.
I hope this will be a good lesson to you.
Personally, I think Maureen McCormick is irreplaceable. But you know what? Things weren't going all that well for Maureen around the time of the making of A Very Brady Christmas. The late 80s and early 90s were full of highs and lows for her, and as such, she wasn't available when the producers of the movie decided that the ratings were good enough that they wanted to return the Brady family to weekly television, albeit in a more dramatic 60-minute format. So when the Bradys debuted in 1990, there was a new Marcia in town for the TV show that critics semi-affectionately called Brady Something. I should have known something was up when that strange girl in the upper left-hand corner showed up. That's not Maureen. Oh my goodness, Jan looks older than Marcia. Just what the heck is going on here? Because Maureen wasn't available, actress Leah Ayres stepped into the role of Marcia for the CBS TV show that lasted only 6 episodes and ran from February to March of 1990. This one was tough for me. I didn't like the new, more dramatic version of the Brady family, but I also especially didn't like that Marcia's husband Wally acted like nothing was wrong. Come on, man, you of all people should have said something. You should have known. This is your wife. This is Marcia. This is the woman who you got married to at the exact same time as Jan got hitched to her man, and then you shared a house. Oh, those were the days. I actually really like the Brady Brides, and I don't understand why that 1981 TV show didn't last longer. Anyway, Leah Ayres, also known as Fake Marcia, is probably best known for her role in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Bloodsport, but these days she teaches children and yoga. Well, at least that's what Wikipedia says. It looks like she still makes an appearance in movies and television from time to time, if an intriguing offer comes her way. By the way, all 3 original Brady girls were finally back for 2019's A Very Brady renovation on HGTV. On that show, they and their TV brothers joined forces with stars from the network to renovate the real-life Brady Bunch home in Los Angeles. I only caught a couple of episodes of that show, but I've got to say that there is something very comforting about seeing all 6 kids back together again. Over the course of the show's run, the Brady kids helped their new HGTV friends completely demolish the inside of the home that really only served as an establishing scene for the original show. The inside of the home didn't look anything like the set that served as the Brady's home on television, so it really was a lot of fun to watch that iconic home be recreated from the inside out. You know what else was a lot of fun? The Brady Kids cartoon from the early 70s. Again, all of the original actors showed up to voice their characters, at least for the show's first season. And I absolutely loved it when Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Lone Ranger made appearances on different episodes of the show. I really miss Saturday morning cartoons, getting up with my bowl of cereal and settling on in for hours of great entertainment.
My alarm goes off and the sunlight it streams in. For a bowl of cereal, it is time to begin. Yep, the cartoons are calling and I'm ready for escape. another bowl of cereal, and I'll put on my Batman cape. I still remember those joyous Saturdays, Super Friends and Scooby, all those animated plays. I hope they'd never, ever, ever go away. The simple thrill of cartoons shows made just for me. Another bowl of cereal and my parents are awake. They say something about chores. It's Saturday, for goodness sake. They say it doesn't matter and they turn the TV off. My heart is full of sorrow, but then I start to cough. I've got a genius idea, a foolproof, brilliant plan. I tell them that I'm sick, that I can barely stand, but they don't seem too bothered by the fact that I could die. In fact, if I didn't know better, they thought I told a lie. I still remember those joyous Saturdays, Super Friends and Scooby, all those animated plays. I hope they'd never, ever, ever go away. The simple thrill of cartoons, shows made just for me. I still remember those joyous Saturdays, Super Friends and Scooby, all those animated plays. I hope they'd never, ever, ever go away. The simple thrill of cartoons, shows made just for me. Cartoons are calling every Saturday. Cartoons are calling, a perfect way to spend the day. Cartoons are calling, they keep on calling. Cartoons are calling, shows made just for me.
And now, these messages.
No little cinnamon gum freshens breath longer than Big Red.
So kiss a little longer, hug a little longer, state your case a little longer, longer with Big Red. That Big Red freshness lasts right through it. Your fresh breath goes on and on while you chew it. Say goodbye a little longer, make it last a little longer. Give your breath long-lasting freshness with Big Red.
Hello, I'm Betty White. Why do I serve my husband Uncle Ben's converted rice when I could get away with instant rice? I find it tastes better, and I'm not about to sacrifice the taste he loves for convenience. It does take a little longer to prepare, but to me the taste is worth it. Why do I serve my husband Uncle Ben's converted rice instead of instant rice? Because it tastes better. And he'd leave me if I didn't. We spend...
This episode of Classic TV Funhouse is brought to you by the letter B.
Friday night on WKRP, Bailey is determined to write the best story ever, but less gets in the way.
You're not ready for field reporting. Who is not ready?
Speaking as someone who someday hopes to bear children.
You mean Les stole your story? Word for word. Les, the story is a lie.
Don't miss WKRP in Cincinnati, Friday night at 7 on Channel 48.
Buck Rogers. I want you. A space-age vampire possesses Wilma.
It felt so good.
And Buck has to get her back against her will Thursday.
Welcome back, fans of classic television. Today we are once again revisiting Buck Rogers in the 25th Century to discuss one of my favorite episodes, Space Vampire. But before we embark on this intergalactic adventure, let's set the stage and learn a little bit more about the TV series itself. Buck Rogers originally aired from 1979 to 1981 on NBC and was based on the classic science fiction character created by Philip Francis Nolan. The show follows the journey of Captain William Buck Rogers, played by Gil Gerard, who is a 20th century astronaut who ends up getting frozen in space, only to awaken in the 25th century where he finds himself in a world vastly different than his own. Without a doubt, there is a lot to like about this TV series, and in particular, the first season when the program didn't take itself all that seriously. It was just fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not every television program needs to be message heavy, and for one joyous season, Buck Rogers just entertained us and didn't worry about anything else. Now, with all that said, let's talk about Space Vampire, the 14th episode of the first season of the show. The story begins with Buck and Colonel Wilma Deering arriving at Theta Station to have Twiki, their lovable robot sidekick, serviced. But what starts out as a routine visit quickly spirals into a spine-chilling tale of horror. Okay, maybe spine-chilling is overselling it. It's not Salem's Lot. It's more like Salem's Light. The story really gets going when a freighter unexpectedly crashes into the space station and its crew is found in a state between life and death. Fearing a potential virus outbreak, Commander Royko quickly orders the station under quarantine. And as they investigate further, things take a dark turn. Wilma starts sensing a cold, evil presence stalking her, and crew members begin turning up half dead. Zombies. Long before they were cool, we had freaking zombies on Buck Rogers. Now, as great as Gil Gerard is in this episode, really it's Erin Gray who gets to shine here as she battles not only external threats but her own internal fears. Fears that are quickly justified as she discovers the shocking truth. The source of all these intergalactic hijinks is one space vampire known as a Vorvon, portrayed by talented actor Nicholas Foreman. This sinister creature has the ability to drain the life energy from its victims and turn them into mindless zombies. I've just got to say, I love this episode and I love Nicholas Foreman. This space vampire is cheesy, campy, and yeah, a little bit scary. In fact, not all that long ago in a newspaper interview, Nicholas confessed that his niece and nephew still get scared when they watch this episode with him. I can't believe it's their uncle behind all that makeup. But the untold truth about this space vampire, my friends, is that Nicholas is quite the actor. He's one of those fellers that over the past 4 decades has literally been in hundreds of TV shows and movies, but no one knows who he is. His career has been that of a character actor, someone who just completely disappears into their role. One of my favorite characters that Nicholas has played over the years was Calvin Klein on the classic TV sitcom Seinfeld. You remember that one, right? And beyond TV and movies, Nicholas can often be found doing live theater. Yep, he's an actor's actor, one of the very best. You know, for a late 70s TV show, Space Vampire really does deliver the goods. While this episode originally aired in January of 1980, really should have been broadcast right before Halloween. The makeup and practical effects used to depict half-dead victims and the Vorvon's presence are very well done. Everyone working on this episode really did themselves proud. Now let's get back to Nicholas. This episode either works or it doesn't, based on his ability as an actor, and I've got to say, the dude really pulls it off. If you do a simple Google search on the term Buck Rogers Space Vampire, you'll see that I'm not the only one that was impressed with Nicholas and more broadly, the entire episode. There's articles, fan art, and of course other videos here on YouTube praising this episode. Those of us who grew up during the late 70s and early 80s were blessed to be around when Buck Rogers in the 25th century became a significant part of TV sci-fi pop culture. And Space Vampire, without a doubt, contributed to the show's enduring legacy.
We'll return after these messages.
My baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Oscar Mayer, the first name in Bologna.
How's that?
Richard has opened for a lot of great acts, and you just started to tell me about a story with somebody in the audience.
Yeah, well, there was a guy who I like and who we all know who was in the audience one night, and I did an impression of him, and I didn't know he was there. And I'd like to recreate that moment for you right now. If the boys in the band recall...
A ticking bomb means trouble for Batman and Robin.
Holy, breaking and entering! It's Batgirl!
Quick, Batgirl. Untie us before it's too late.
It's already too late. I've worked for you a long time, and I'm paid less than Robin. Same job, same employer means equal pay for men and women.
No time for jokes, Batgirl.
It's no joke. It's the federal equal pay law.
Holy act of Congress!
If you're not getting equal pay, contact the Wage and Hour Division, U.S. Department of Labor.
You know, the irony of that PSA is that during the third season of Batman, when Yvonne was brought on board, she was paid substantially more than Burt Ward. Burt's always seemed like an amiable feller, but heck, you never know. Something like that could cause someone to act out in the oddest of ways. More on that in a moment, but first, back to Yvonne being asked to be Batgirl one more time for this PSA. So she agreed to do it on one condition. Somehow, some way, they would need to acquire one of her original costumes if they truly wanted her to fly into action again. And at first, that kind of seemed to be a deal breaker. Yvonne was told that there wasn't a Batgirl suit intact. And that, at least from Yvonne's point of view, kind of put an end to the whole thing. But then, from out of the blue, Yvonne was told that an original costume had been found, and that it was in the possession of the boy wonder himself, Mr. Burt Ward. Well, Burt actually said that it belonged to a friend, but that he would be able to get it if Yvonne agreed to join him and actor Dick Gautier, who was standing in for Adam West for the commercial. And after filming was complete, Yvonne had hoped to take the costume home with her, but Burt was insistent that it needed to be returned to his friend. Whenever Yvonne told this story later on at conventions and the like, she would always use quotation marks when saying the word friend. Why? I believe that she was somewhat skeptical about the whole thing. She even went as far as to say that Burt told her that he bought the costume, but this revelation only came to light after everyone at Fox, who could have validated his story, was gone. Truthfully, I don't know what to think. From everything that I can tell, Burt is a wonderful feller. A real stand-up guy who was loyal to his friend Adam until the very end. That said, could acquiring the only intact Batgirl costume after the show ended be Burt's way of protesting the inequality of pay that he had been subjected to during Batman's final season? If it was, I can't say that I blame him much. And boy, oh boy, if he still has that costume, it has got to be worth a pretty penny now. Holy wise investments, Robin! You did it, old chum. Way to play the long game. So how do you think Burt really ended up with that costume? Let me know in the comments section, and while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from decades gone by. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Robin, you're alone. Where's Batman?
Batman, he couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he's got his hands full out chasing Catwoman. Apparently, Catwoman is loose, and Batman is in hot pursuit of her.
Hey, Robin, how did you meet Batman?
As a child, I was orphaned, and Batman was kind enough to adopt me and make me his young ward. And of course, his whole life is divided to crime fighting, and I was brought up to fight heinous villains wherever they rear their ugly heads.
Don't you have any time to go out on any dates?
I have been asked out on a few dates I won't mind mentioning, but unfortunately Batman makes me do a lot of studying, and it's nice I'm out chasing heinous villains, so I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm looking for my very first date.
Do you have any advice for the Metropolitan Police in their battle with crime?
With those villains, it's not easy. We use our bat computers and our other crime-fighting devices, and we have to go out and stalk them in the streets where they rear their ugly heads.
Wow. Wow. I love that interview. I love that interview with Burt Ward. He was so game for it, right? Just so up for whatever questions were thrown his way, and he had great responses. And, both he and Adam were that way. That's what's so awesome. And why am I leaving it at Burt and Adam? Yvonne as well. I think most of the actors that were associated with the classic Batman TV show that debuted in 1966 were very proud of what they'd accomplished and were, thrilled to be part of that legacy. And while a lot of folks thought that show was a bit of a flash in the pan, and certainly it was from a ratings standpoint initially, it has endured. It truly has endured. Hey, I'm coming on live on screen. I really wasn't planning on doing it, but I said I put a little message down, a little scrolly thing there. I said if anybody left a milestone message or a super chat that I would come on screen and acknowledge it. So I quickly put on a more presentable shirt and didn't have time to shave, but we'll do that another day. And I wanted to acknowledge the milestone message from my friend Keith E., who has been a channel member for 32 months. And Keith, I just want to say to you and to all the other channel members that are participating today, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. To become a channel member, it's more than just subscribing. You are actually saying, and it's not a lot, but a couple bucks a month you're throwing my way towards my efforts to make quality content here on YouTube. And, I pay for a lot of things out of pocket with YouTube. And fortunately, there's advertisements that YouTube runs in front of my videos that help to cover a lot of those costs as well. So, it all works together. And those folks that are channel members, well, like I said, you truly appreciate it. And the fact that you have been a channel member, Keith, it says 32 months on the little sign there in the bottom left corner. But we all know that you've been a channel member longer than that, because before I ran YouTube channel memberships, I had a Patreon and you were participating there as well. So thank you so much, Keith. And I think that's it for milestone messages. And super chats. Got a couple more things. I'm not quite ready to go yet. Let me go ahead and take that off the screen. I should find a thank you that's appropriate given the letter B, because it's all been about the letter B today, if you haven't noticed. And there's got to be something here in my arsenal of thank yous. Spider-Man starts with an S. Can't use that one. Fembots. No, can't use that one. Christina with balloons. Balloons? Can we count that? Oh, maybe we better just go with Bruce Lee and Burt Ward. How cool is it that Bruce Lee was on the Batman TV show? Just crazy, mind-blowing if you think about it. All right, like I said, I've got a few more things before we close the doors on the Funhouse today, so I'm going to pop off screen again and cue them up. Thanks to everybody that's been here today and has participated. I love reading the chat. You know, I've just been kind of, as I've been queuing up the videos, I've been reading what everybody's saying in the chat. And, you know, I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their afternoon to hang out with me a little bit. Okay, what do we got next? Oh, that's right. Got a song. Okay. Talk to y'all soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day, folks.
Remember a woman, they called her Big Bad Roz. There she was on my TV, a shooting star with a heart of gold. She rode a bike made of steel. She broke Arthur's heart when she said no deal. Big Bad Roz, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky. She could be sweet as sunshine, but if you do her wrong, you'll soon live to regret it. 'Cause she'll turn on you like King Kong. Big Bad Rose, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky. They said she was tough, they said she was strong. But deep down inside, she knew they were wrong. Big Bad Rose, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky. Such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky. Big Bad Roz.
The new issue of RetroFan is out. You can preview it at tomorrows.com.
Don't be a joker. Click on that little thumbs up icon and give this video a like.
You are special.
Click on that thumbnail 'cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.